let's start with engine programs. We've already heard the financiers talk about how important they are. You guys have been banging the drum for engine and airframe programs, in JSSI's case, for years. Does everyone just agree with you now? Is the battle over, Michael?
People do understand the program, but the level of understanding varies very much with the region of the world. People like in North America, Europe, and UAE, they are pretty educated and pretty knowledgeable about the benefits of the programs. But when you go to Asia, especially mainland China, a lot of education is necessary, and it's also about the different types of programs that are available, so that people do understand the differences.
Greg, are you finding it now it's really easy selling programs?
Well, I've seen a great development in the region I'm covering, because when I first started visiting potential customers, the first question I would get was, are you from an insurance company? So now we've gone past this. I find that people are very much more knowledgeable and more informed about these programs, and they really understand the three main benefits, which are budget stability, then risk mitigation, and also very importantly the value retention of the asset that's being covered by the program. And you can see more and more operators incorporating the maintenance programs in their financial plan. Primarily engines, because they are the most expensive part of the aircraft. And also, as we heard from our financiers, there's sometimes a requirement to have these programs. But also, we can see that airframe is becoming quite an item that is sought after for the reasons I mentioned.
Jeff, the battle's won. It's, everyone wants programs nowadays.
I have a lot of customers that ask me, some customers that don't know what OnPoint is. They say, is it similar to corporate care? The answer is yes, it's similar. I mean, we all have, the OEMs have developed and benchmarked over the years, improved. I know with GE OnPoint, of course, in the last 5 years, we improved every year. This year, we've come up with technology, a retrofit possible for the Challengers as well, the used aircraft out there, with prognostic health management. So it involves a QAR retrofit, and this is replacing our standard engine diagnostics. We're also providing support on ADSB, because frankly, I mean, it's in everybody's interest to keep the aircraft flying. So just a couple of examples. We simplified our contract. Our contract used to be 70 pages, it's 10 pages today. So we've made it easier. And I agree with what Michael and Gregory have said. The market is quite educated. So I'm based in Montreal, and one of my mandates is to meet all of the new customers taking new aircraft deliveries. And they come from all over the world. And most of the time, they're already quite aware of what the program, value added that Gregory mentioned, the top three.
So all three of you have had big growth in program sales through the years. That's partly reliant on new aircraft deliveries, isn't it? Is it getting tougher now?
I'll attack that, because yes, absolutely. I mean, from our side, Alex and I, we work on primarily the Challenger powered by our CF34s, and there's been a decline in the, if you could just compare this year to last year. Of course, we're looking forward to the Global 7000 entering the service. That's going to be, another path for us. As we've been successful in capturing more and more aircraft in the triple digits every year, it gets harder and harder. So, of course, the targets are no there's no lenience in the targets this year. So we're traveling a lot more. It's much more, touch points, turning rocks over, and the used market is shrinking.
I mean, with corporate care, we're at a 70+% market coverage, and it's a normal thing that it's getting more and more difficult when you get into the saturation phase part of the curve, basically. Yes, it's getting more and more difficult.
We in JSSI, we don't rely purely on new aircraft, because we find also that part of the market, or the people I'm talking to, are saying, look, do we really need a program? The aircraft's under warranty. So I'm trying to explain that warranty is not maintenance. But also we find that a lot of people who the aircraft comes out of warranty, then they look into joining a maintenance program. So JSSI's case, we have a mix of new and in service.
But the penetration of programs is just going,
I would add that on the new aircraft, I can't give specific statistical data. I can, but I won't. But last year we had a very high capture rate. Most of the customers took the program. This year, I'll say all of them have so far. So it's recognized by the financial institutions, by the management companies, even by the individuals acquiring the aircraft, that it makes more sense to enroll since new, right from the start.
Is there any innovation in maintenance programs that people in the room should know about, apart from shortening the contract, which I'm sure everyone's very grateful for? Have you added to your contract another 100 pages?
No, we haven't. The contract is exactly the same in terms of the number of pages. The programs, and I'm not just talking about corporate care, it's on point. They are pretty comprehensive right now. Obviously, we are running what we call C3 forum. It's our customer advisory board, where we are collecting feedback, and it's really more about improving the delivery of the services that are promised in the contracts. And this is where we have improved and are constantly improving year over year. We, for example, have over 70 authorized Rolls-Royce authorized service facilities around the world. We have put lease engines around the world into strategic locations. We have added on-wing care service technicians around the world to support our customers, to reduce response times. And it's really about how you react on unplanned, unscheduled stuff. Planned maintenance, you can plan for it, you can arrange for things, but it's the way how you react on situations like AOG. And this is where we have improved over the years.
We went a bit on the side of simplification. If I talk about the engine contracts, we used to offer, over the years we used to adjust and tweak and offer various options, and we ended up offering the customer about 20 different options at one stage. We've now simplified this, and the customer has one very comprehensive coverage in the engine field with two options. One really whether LLCs should be covered in the scheduled replacement end of life coverage. That's only one option. And from the airframe point of view, we just cover everything. So the feedback we had was the exclusions, small things like consumables and freight and whatever, were causing more hassle than they were worth. So now we went in a simplified way and also more comprehensive coverage.
Yeah, I mean, there's like Jeff said it, like contract-wise, we have really simplified the whole business to get on a contract, to understand the contract, understand the benefits, And if you go then, once the contract is signed, to the support side, of course, like we work continuously improving the support with our service partners. Like only this year we hired a new engineer recently in Beijing. We will add one in Shanghai, another one in the US this year. So as the business grows and as the demand grows from the customers, we adapt to this and enhance the customer experience.
So
There's one other thing I would add is that on the passport, right? So I think most people are familiar. We have another division, GE Digital Solutions, right? So we've implemented various digital solutions with airlines, which are bringing tremendous benefits. And on the passport, you will have a digital twin. So each engine, each IPS, I should say, because on the passport, we will be responsible not just for the engine, but for everything that's pile out. And yeah, with the digital technology, digital solutions, the 3D modeling, we're moving towards predictive maintenance. I know you want to, that's I think the next topic you wanted to talk about. So, but this will be an integrated component of OnPoint for passport.
let's go through the digital twin, which is quite cool. Do you want to, Alex, do you want to explain how it works?
I mean, like, to keep it simple, it's just like collecting. I mean, if you look to what we have right now to the legacy aircraft in the market, like, I mean, we came up with a retrofit solution for the Challengers to have enhanced engine analytics. And obviously the Challenger, there's no engine control unit on it. But of course, like for the our new engine on the Global 7000 will be electronically controlled and the data transmitted real time. So our experts analyzing, sitting in our diagnostics department, they can in real time, like, see what's going on during the flight path and analyze the data. So it's like if they were sitting in the aircraft, basically. I mean, this is like, you will have like everything predictive in the future and not reactive.
Which means eventually you'll get to zero unscheduled maintenance.
Eventually we will see, but I think like with the
That would be
technology which will come with the Global 7000, with the passport engine, we're getting close to that.
And what year will that be?
We'll see. But there are other things, I mean, you know, with the digital solutions, I mean, we have, I would say, very large operators that this has allowed us to open up other opportunities whereby some large operators are looking at our digital solutions, talking to business jets here, right? Large operators, they want to go beyond GE-powered aircraft. So they like our solutions on the digital side, and they're exploring that across the fleet.
Going digital, obviously, is the big thing. And when you look at it, like a 787 collects about 500 gigabytes of data for every flight. So it's making use of that data. And it extends to business aviation, obviously, as well. And what we do with, similar to what Jeff said, is we call it engine health monitoring. We collect a lot of data, we do predictive maintenance, so to avoid any unscheduled event. I don't think we will ever get to zero unscheduled things happen. It's the way how you react on those and how you be prepared and how quickly you can react and get the aircraft back flying.
Gregory, as a customer of GE and Rolls-Royce maintenance, because JSSI is a big customer, are you finding reliability is improving across the board on all engines you guys cover?
Well, reliability, I mean, let's take up from the point you mentioned that there'll be zero unscheduled events. The health monitoring leads towards making most of the events scheduled, because then you just monitor the parameters and you take it in before it fails. It will never be, you can never have 100% reliability. I mean, it's kind of pie in the sky. So definitely the way the health is monitored on engines, keep them on wing for a lot longer, and it has the potential of reducing the overall cost. But unscheduled events happen. Just before we came in, I looked at what we had last, just recently. I mean, we had, I'm not going to mention types of engines, but we had 2.6 million on one, 1.3 and 1.2 just recently. So the costs are there. They'll always be there, but the new technologies and the condition monitoring and all that will reduce the potential.
So the question I've been setting you up for is, as we get to very low unscheduled maintenance, much more reliable engines, data points, we don't need programs.
Yes, you do, because the digital solution piece is going to be key. To what Michael was saying earlier, as more and more we're going to have, more and more volume to handle, right? We have to become the digital solution will actually help us to do schedule shifts in our shops, right? So of course, I agree with Gregory as well. Though, will we ever get to completely scheduled? No. I mean, there will always be some unscheduled, but the fact that we're integrating digital solutions to enhance on-point, the program will continue to be attractive. We will innovate, and we will make it not a nice to have, but a no-brainer, a must-have.
And it's not just about unscheduled. The programs provide other benefits other than just the risk coverage of unscheduled. There will be some maintenance, some scheduled maintenance, and by covering those and making the costs predictable for the clients, that is another benefit. And make it cheaper than typical time material.
So, as engines become more reliable, as you track them, maintenance costs will get lower?
I don't think so, that the maintenance costs will become lower. It's a timing issue. The scheduled maintenance may come later because the engines get more and more reliable. We will have less unscheduled, but by improving technology, using more expensive materials in the engine, the actual maintenance costs will not go down.
That's a good point. Just to good lead on to say that with OnPoint, never say never. We strive to 100% of the time. We strive to use new parts, right? And Alex, maybe you can give an example of real life example that recently, and obviously not too much detail, but the FOD gap example. I like that example where basically you have a FOD event.
I mean, of course, like, do you really need an engine program? I would agree you need, because like there's like unforeseen stuff. Can be FOD happens all the time. You know that. I mean, that's usually covered by the insurance company. But nevertheless, if an engine goes to the shop, there's something else to do. And like, of course, like once an engine is in the shop, there are like the heavy maintenance manual applies, and there are different limits which apply. So like findings which would have been good per the service manual on wing are like fail the inspection in the shop, and then like there are service bulletins which apply. So we had like, as we speak, there's an engine in the shop from a customer, an FOD damage. The estimation for the shop visit is 2.7 million. Only what we cover as called FOD gap from that is 1.6 million. So, then tell me, is it good to have a program or not?
Question from the audience. How real time is the data transmitted for private business aviation? Is it in flight, or is it mainly batched and transmitted on the ground? And how do you get 500 gigabytes off a plane? Sounds like a joke almost, something like that.
Currently, with the current Rolls-Royce fleet, we don't get On the business jet side, we don't get the data real time. We get it basically weight on wheels. It gets transmitted automatically, and we are analyzing it immediately then. 500 gigabytes of the plane. That is probably modern technology makes it possible. Airlines, on our airline side, obviously there's real-time transmission, and we will get to, with the next projects, we will get to real-time transmission, I'm pretty sure.
And like, the data you get real time through ACAS, or if you dump it like after weight on wheels, won't be most of the time the 500 gigabytes, is like to do the trend from the full flight leg. You don't need all the data points. If there would be like something which looks strange on the trend or some event, then you can download the full data offline and do further analysis.
Now things might, in the future, talking about innovation, move towards enhancements like the airlines, right? They're looking for flight path optimization, reduced fuel consumption. Therefore, we could implement digital solutions that are similar to what we're doing with the airlines, such that you're then improving or reducing the total cost of ownership, total operating cost reduction, right?
Yeah, that's fine. By the way, we like included in our prognostic health management, we offer that free of charge. Flight quality assurance program, flight path optimization, all that comes along.
Okay, nice question for you guys. Powered by the hour programs are cost averaging tools, not insurance. Self-funded accruals are a much better option, lower cost, more flexibility, and more financial security. You all agree with that?
No.
Not at all.
No.
I've just mentioned the last 3 events that I looked up. I mean, I just went over there. You can self-accrue, but if you're hit by 2.6 million, you're in a bit of trouble. And plus, the first point I brought up, what benefits you get from a program, the value retention is something that I don't think it could be dollar for dollar be the same, because in certain parts of the world also, you can see that if the aircraft is enrolled under a program, it is perceived that an independent third party has been monitoring the asset for all its life. So, you can put money in the bank, but you have to see what gives you the benefit.
I have a few points. I mean, I agree with what Gregory said as well. I mean, if you're self-accruing, you are affecting your cash flow, right? I mean, you're affecting your cash flow, that's for sure. So the residual value as well. I mean, this is not GE data, but if you look at data from Aircraft Blue Book, JetNet, the aircrafts, if the engines are on point, the aircraft sell faster. And with engines with time since new 5,000 flight hours as an example, the aircraft typically sell for $2.8 million more. So in fact, the residual value enhancement more than pays for the on-point that you pay in. So there's a return on investment.
And the powered by the hour programs, they are a combination of covering risk for unscheduled and covering scheduled maintenance. What self-accrual means, you put in a maintenance reserve, which is for scheduled maintenance typically. You can't really cater or plan for an unscheduled unless you put a lot of money in, but then it's maybe wasted money. This is one of the big benefits of a cost per flight hour program, and it's also easy to budget when you know how many hours you fly. You know how much you need to budget for the next year, so it's a smooth cash flow kind of thing. And this is what finance departments want. They don't want any surprises nowadays. That's what we figure.
Yeah. To complement what Michael said, like, I mean, of course, like you have the money, but how you organize the support? Do you have the network to get the lease engines on site, to get a mobile repair team on site on time? I mean, you can do everything yourself, but usually it takes a long time.
Good point. I mean, again, total cost of ownership. Operators will have to manage the warranty, right? Warranty claims, logistics, chasing after support parts. With OnPoint, it's one phone call to an expert, and that expert takes it from there.
Yeah, and also, I wouldn't trust any bank after the financial crisis.
It's just easy, like simple example, when your engine needs to be taken off and you're at an authorized service facility and you're on corporate care, for example, your engine gets taken off, your lease engine gets put on, you don't see an invoice. The service center deals directly with us, and you as operator, owner, you don't have anything to do about that. The whole logistics, the burden is much less.
Okay, Gregory, I can't work out if this is a plant from JSSI or from one of your competitors. We're aware that OEMs, thanks, Mike, have a direct line to their engineering support. What kind of OEM engineering support access does JSSI have for customers?
Well, the programs all of us are promoting are actually financial management programs for maintenance. And I can say that JSSI uses exactly the same approach towards the support by contacting the OEM authorized service centers. We use the parts that are the parts that are authorized to use. So basically, we have the same sources of support, and what we do is we manage the money that we put in the most optimum way, using the same support which is available in the industry. What we have is a team of people, experts on the engines, which come in either from the OEM trained or MRO trained. So yes, we're using the same resources, but in an independent fashion.
Okay. Yes, no question for GE and JSSI. Are you ready to support the Global 7000?
Can I be absolutely honest? I don't know.
It's really honest, and I admire that.
But I'll find out and I'll let you know.
I mean, we have been working on that for the last 6-7 years already, and I mean, we are not 100% ready, but we are on a very good way. We have done exclusive contracts for MRT support. Tooling is all defined, flyaway kits, training for the team. So yeah, we are on a good way, and we have extended our network and put the right things in provision to be ready by EIS.
Michael, how does an OEM choose the engine company for each aircraft type? And I know you're not directly involved in pitching, but how does an aircraft OEM choose the engine manufacturer?
I think there's a normal bidding process where whenever an airframe OEM is developing a new airframe, there's a normal bidding process, and the engine companies typically bid, and then it gets down selected, and typically there's 2 final suppliers, and then it comes down to various things like technical customer support, but also data-driven financial stuff.
And even before the procurement aspect or bidding phase, there's a joint definition phase, right? In terms of the design of the aircraft, the flight envelope, what type of performance. So often when you get the formal request for proposal, if you just look at the technical specifications, you might see some hints of the various engineering hints from the different OEMs. So they talk to the major engine OEMs, and then they joint definition phase and go from there.
Okay, any questions from the audience? Final question. Oh, we've got one in the back. Microphone's just on its way to you.
Hi, in addition to the FOD gap that you addressed, there is an additional FOD gap that's actually not covered. I invite all operators to go home and pull out their hourly program and put it next to their insurance policy and see that there is a minor fault that's not going to be covered by insurance and not covered by the programs. And that is a great risk of the $1 million order. So the last incident I was involved with was a GE issue. GE refused to cover the incident because it's fault. Insurance refused to cover it because it's minor damage. And the operator, the owner, was stuck with the bill.
Just to be fair to GE, other engine maintenance providers also refused.
Right, that's pretty standard practice. I'm surprised to hear that it's minor fault and $1 million. I mean, we'd have to talk maybe a side meeting to understand what happened. We'd be very interested to hear the story, what area of the world, what happened. Because we, on point, I mean, we built a brand that where we'll sign the on-point agreement. As I said, it's a 10-page agreement. It's not complicated. It's comprehensive coverage, and we go above and beyond even what is covered by on-point. So I'm surprised of that story, $1 million minor fault. Minor fault is usually exactly that, minor, and the cost should be minor as well.
I would not blame the OEM programs for that. It's like I would blame the insurance for that. And just to give you an example, we just had an aircraft from an African customer in pre-buy inspection. They had one little FOD finding in the compressor, and we did an engineering analysis on it, and the outcome was okay, it's in limit, but the operator thought, okay, I'll have that fixed to have one discussion point less with the buyer. They did a top case repair on the engine. Result was they had additional findings, the engine had to go to the shop. So as per the contract, we were not obliged to cover this because that was like like without consulting us.
We need to be careful because there are, every year we see some situations. I'm just, my intuition's telling me was there maybe a situation of corrosion due to lack of preservation? No. I mean, we have to look into it to see what happened, do a little deep dive and understand.
Usually the insurance companies, they push back covering stuff. They have their experts coming up with weird analysis, and of course, if you can't counter-argue that, okay, the insurance wins. I have seen that in a lot of cases, so, but I wouldn't.
I fully agree with what you are saying. Put your maintenance program small prints next to your insurance policy small prints and compare to find any gaps. Just an example, a couple of years ago, one of our clients who's still on the program, he had when he took off, he with the front wheel some runway gravel, and both engines got hit, and when he landed after the post-flight checks, both engines were rejected, and his insurance basically covered the repair, but he needed, since he was a charter operator, he needed 2 lease engines. And the argument was, I need 2 lease engines, I need both covered by the insurance. But the insurance company said, look at your wording, it says we cover that amount per event. So the argument was is it one event with 2 engines, or is it just covering one engine? So it's really going to the small prints, and furthermore, the lease engine coverage was kept at $250,000 per event, which is never enough. So I fully agree. I would encourage everyone to go to the small prints and compare or find out the gaps.
Read the contracts. I send the contracts to the customer. Half an hour later, it comes back signed. Are they reading it?
Our contracts, they have no gaps, no small print.
Okay, and so basically the insurance guys were at fault, says the panel of maintenance providers. Thank you very much on that. Thank you very much.